Bengals fans, what is going on? Stone Shields on hand for another edition of Bengals Breakdown. Thank you so much for joining us. And today's a very exciting day because it is day one of Bengals training camp. Actually, they are out on the field right now as we speak, practicing. By the time this video comes out, they probably still will be practicing, or if not, finishing up day one of training camp. But before they got out there on the practice field, head coach Zac Taylor gave us some comments that he addressed the media with. We will break those all down here in a second. But first, if you're excited for Bengals training camp, if you're excited for the fact that Bengals training camp is finally here, spam me in the comment section right now. We're trying to make this the most commented video of July for us. I think we need about 130 or so comments on this video. So help us out. Spam me right now in the comments section and show your excitement for Bengals training camp. All right, so we have an update on Trent Brown. If you remember yesterday, we came out with a video letting you guys know that Trent Brown was placed on the non-football injury list. And Zac Taylor addressed that at his press conference. Didn't give too much detail, but basically said that Brown had experienced some tightness. And here's what Charlie Goldsmith, doing great work for the Inquirer, tweeted out. He said, Zac Taylor on Trent Brown. He had some tightness, trying to be smart, especially with some of these veteran guys. Who knows how many days? Could be a couple days, and see where he's at. We know what we've got from an ability standpoint. So it's good to see that it's nothing too serious for Trent Brown. At some point, I would assume he's going to be out there on the practice field practicing for the Cincinnati Bengals. But Zac Taylor really just, with his veteran guys, he likes to take it easy with them. He understands that these guys have been in the league for a long time. They know how to win. They've experienced winning before. So I think Zac Taylor is one of those coaches that really looks at training camp as an opportunity for other guys, like the rookies, to get their feet wet. Here's also another quote from Zac Taylor coming from Charlie Goldsmith, once again, from the Inquirer. He said in regards to the start of camp, don't read too much into the depth chart. Guys are going to get reps. Doesn't matter what unit they're with, they will get opportunities. And I think that's a lot of coach speak right there, right? Obviously, us in the media, we like to sit there and break down depth charts and see who's where or whatnot, which we'll do a little bit later here in the show. But I understand that guys are going to be getting a lot of reps, particularly Amarius Mims with Trent Brown's injury. So it's important to note that the Bengals shouldn't, as a Bengal fan, you shouldn't necessarily read too far deep into it. And Zac Taylor's letting us know with that quote right there. But at the same time, I do think it is worth talking about. So that leads us to the pinned comment of today's video. Will Trent Brown practice during training camp at all? Once again, it doesn't seem like this is a significant injury. It's just very much precautionary, right? Just experiencing some kind of tightness. Didn't even tell us, which part of the body that was on. So it doesn't seem too serious. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section. Type Y for yes or type N for no in regards to whether or not Trent Brown will practice during Bengals training camp. Worth taking a look at this depth chart one last time here. Trent Brown, obviously, he is the guy that the Bengals brought in to, have that spot as their starting right tackle. But, with this setback, that's going to be a lot of reps for Amarius Mims, who, of course, they took in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. So really excited to see how he progresses. Usually when you see rookies get out there on the field, you can tell pretty early, like, oh, this is a guy that can develop into being a stud. This is a guy that's a first-round guy. Or, oh no, we may have made the wrong selection. So once they get the pads on, we see some footage of Amarius Mims out there on the football field. That'll certainly be interesting to see. Also have some more updates regarding some of the core players on the Bengals roster. Taylor-Britt, obviously cornerback one for Cincinnati. He had his tonsils removed last week, so he is day-to-day. So if you don't see him out there practicing, that's totally fine. Team is very much aware of this. Had his tonsils pulled out. It happens. I've had mine pulled out, and I can't imagine going to a football practice, immediately after that. So just day by day for Taylor-Britt, and he'll be out there at some point taking a look at what he's done during his time in a Cincinnati Bengals uniform, his 2 seasons he's played. I think last year he really developed into being that cornerback one for Cincinnati, and he really is looked at as a guy that can be a stud corner in this league. At this point, it's all going to be about who's his running mate, right? On the other side of the field, obviously you got Mike Hilton there at that nickel position. Then they'll have a big-time battle with DJ Turner and Dax Hill for that cornerback 2 spot. But Cam Taylor-Britt, he'll be out there at some point. Once again, just had his tonsils removed, and nothing too serious there at all for Taylor-Britt, and really only a matter of time before we see him on the practice field. Another core player to talk about, Ja'Marr Chase. So he was limited in practice today. As practice is going on right now, I'm not exactly sure what he was doing, but it certainly was in a very limited role for Cincinnati. And, again, kind of going back to some of the things that Zac Taylor said. We'll take a look at this quote really quick here. Yeah, he's just making it pretty obvious that they've been doing this for a long time. Early on, we'll let young guys get their feet wet. That's kind of what Zac Taylor is talking about. Ja'Marr Chase, he's a young guy, but he's been in the league for a really, 3 years now, obviously. He knows what it is like, and he's proven that he can play at a super, super high level in this league. Zac Taylor understands that as a player, so he's going to take it slow with guys like that. And we'll get to who that third guy is in a moment, but make sure you guys are subscribed to our channel here at Bengals Breakdown. If Bengals breaking news comes this practice today, so make sure you hit that sub button so you do not miss out. That's youtube.com/BengalsTV. So we talked about how Chase is limited today in practice. Higgins is going to be limited tomorrow. Again, very similar situation, right? These veteran guys, they don't need to go out there and push it, this early in camp. It's really for the younger guys to sit down and get their feet wet. I think the wide receiver room, pretty much the 6 guys, assuming they take 6 on the 53-man, it's kind of figured out. But at the same time, you want to see guys like Charlie Jones and Andre Yosevich and see how they've progressed in terms of developing into a year 2 player. So Higgins, again, he'll be limited tomorrow. Chase was limited today. That's just how it goes with, big-time receivers, and I'm not worried about that whatsoever. That leads us to the sponsor of today's show. I want to give a shout-out to our friends over at Game Time. And I love the summer because Major League Baseball is in full swing, and I love making the walk down the street from our Chat Sports offices to a Reds game every chance I get. The Reds right now battling the Braves in a little doubleheader action going on today. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And with the NFL season just over a month away, you can get tickets on Game Time to watch the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium. And Game Time doesn't just have sporting events either. They also have concerts, theater, and more. And Game Time has so many features that I really appreciate in a ticketing app. Like I said, they got those last-minute tickets, flash deals, right? Views from your seat. They give you a panoramic view of where you would be sitting at a game before you even buy your ticket. And most importantly, they got that lowest price guarantee. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off first purchase. Go out there and check out GameTime.co for last-minute tickets. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so let's take a look at what T. Higgins had to say when he showed up to Bengals training camp a little bit earlier in the week. He said, "You know me, I like to work. I want to keep putting smiles on people's faces, especially our fans. I grew a love for the city I didn't think was going to happen. Love the fans. They embraced me. I hope to put on a show for them this year. I had time to reflect and think. I had long talks with my agent, a lot of back and forth about what I wanted to do. I just made the decision to sign the tag. At the end of the day, I just wanted to come out here and try to win a Super Bowl. I'm happy with the decision I made. I'm here for the Bengals for the 2024 season. I'm ready to get it done and get with my guys." Now, a lot of things I liked about this, right? I think a lot of receivers, could potentially be a little bit petty here, but it seems like T. Higgins, he understands that he's still making life-changing money this year, right? He alluded to the fact that, he didn't come from much growing up. So this is still big-time money. Obviously, down the road, it's going to be even bigger for T. Higgins, but I think he's fine taking the franchise tag money at this point. But also, I have to, admit that it does certainly seem like with his comments that this is going to be a farewell tour in terms of his time in Cincinnati, and that's totally all right. He's down to do whatever he wants to do because he presumably will be a free agent at the end of the season. And, that's just how it goes in the National Football League, and hopefully it ends on a high note with T. Higgins here in Cincinnati, and perhaps the Bengals can hoist a Lombardi trophy. Once again, your opportunity to get involved with our show, get involved with our program down in the comments section. What is your concern level with those core guys that we talked about? CTB, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Scale it for me in the comments, 1 to 10. 10 being you're really freaking out, 1 meaning you don't really think it's a concern whatsoever. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to rank it out of 1, to be honest with you. I just think it's just how it goes at the beginning of training camp. CTB, obviously, with the tonsils, not a big worry at all. And Jamar and T just, getting off to slow starts. This is how you ease into training camp. So I'm not worried at all. But let us know what you think down in the comments section. Once again, let's get back to our guy, Charlie Goldsmith from the Inquirer. Had another tweet that went out at just a little bit after 2 o'clock, a little bit over an hour ago. He said, as practice gets underway with some drills, Chase Brown is going through warm-ups with the wide receivers. He's obviously a running back, but the improved hands and route running was one of the stories of the offseason. Love to see this, that he's getting this action right away. Chase Brown really is kind of a dual threat back, right? He's someone that can be really explosive and speedy in the run game, but also is really effective in the screen game. And we saw that at times throughout the season last year for Cincinnati. And I'm really excited to see Chase Brown kind of in that role, right? And I understand that, the Zac Taylor, right, and Dan Pitcher are going to want to use Chase Brown in that capacity because they believe that he is a dual threat kind of running back. He probably will start as the RB2, right? Zach Moss probably going to be out there as the team's lead back. Might have some news coming up on Zach Moss in a little bit with regards to today. But I think Chase Brown certainly is a guy that is going to be able to push Zach Moss for that spot. And you're going to see a ton of reps out of Chase Brown in the regular season. And, I really consider him, he's on my breakout player watch. I really think Chase Brown's going to have a massive 2024. I wanted to circle back to this quote from PFF that we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the show. He said, presumed starter Zach Moss had a terrific 2023, posting career highs in attempts and yards, but his numbers after contact weren't spectacular. Brown figures to slot into the RB2 role, and his receiving prowess, his 81.1 receiving grade, was 5th among backs to be targeted 10-plus times, should warrant additional opportunities. So I really think the Bengals are going to focus on Chase Brown in that running game, and he's going to be a really reliable dump-off option for Joe Burrow and the Bengals offensively, and might even be able to work in some option routes as well. Really like what I see from Chase Brown and excited that he's out there getting reps kind of as a receiver day 1 of camp. Once again, hop down in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Do you want to see more Chase Brown in the passing game in 2024? Type 1 for yes or type 0 for no right now in the comments section. Before we get out of here, we promised you guys a shout-out. Whoever was my 300th Twitter follower would get a shout-out on today's show. So got to give a shout-out to my guy, Alex Mangold, at AlexMangold11. Scotty, appreciate you watching the program. Great friend, great pal, and really happy you were my 300th follower. So it means a lot, Scotty. And, we all should be like Alex and give me a follow on Twitter at StoneShields_. All the latest Bengals news, rumors, content, training camp coverage will be posted to my Twitter account. So make sure you give me a follow if you haven't already.